Disclaimer: this video contains a bunch of numbers. Paramount Pictures, founded in 1912, was one of the big six movie studios of the golden age of Hollywood. In 2017, its top-grossing film domestically raked in $130 million, which is roughly a third of the $400 million Warner's top juggernaut made, and sits at the 57th place in the list of Paramount's biggest movies of all time. It even lost to Lionsgate. Fucking Lionsgate. What happened? Paramount Pictures, originally named Famous Players Film Company, has a long and colorful history. In 1916, producer Adolf Zukor slapped 22 stars on the company's logo to represent actors and actresses they had under contract, thus creating the concept of the movie star. They're responsible for The Ten Commandments, The Godfather, Top Gun, Grease, Forrest Gump, and Titanic. Just a few years ago, Paramount was a titan of Hollywood, bringing in $6 billion in film revenue in 2011. 5 years later, that number was $2.7 billion, less than half. What, then, is the reason behind Paramount's magnificent fall? Well, many things. Paramount used to have distribution rights to the DreamWorks animation movies, which was behind the Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar, and Shrek franchises, all of which have been vastly successful. When their deal ended in 2012, Fox grabbed the rights for a few years until Universal bought the whole company in 2016. Originally, Paramount held the rights to the pre-2012 library of DreamWorks animations, but DreamWorks bought those back in 2014. There goes that sweet, sweet Shrek money. Another big blow to Paramount was the loss of distribution rights of the Marvel Studios movies. When Marvel started making its own movies, starting with Iron Man in 2008, it had forged a deal with Paramount for the distribution and marketing of all Marvel Studios movies. This was hugely profitable for Paramount, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe's popularity exploded. Disney bought Marvel in 2009, but Paramount retained the distribution rights until the original deal expired, leaving Paramount completely out of the picture by July of 2013. Disney, however, wasn't done with Paramount. As they acquired Lucasfilm in December of 2013, Disney got the distribution rights to all future Indiana Jones movies from Paramount in exchange for, and I'm not even kidding, sequel rights to Romeo and Juliet. It seems then that Paramount has been losing its most profitable IPs for a while now. This, as all things, comes down to money. While Paramount was hugely successful in making movies with mass appeal, its parent company Viacom was more interested in returning profits to investors than in investing in its film department. This left Paramount in a situation where they simply could not compete with other big studios in the bidding wars for valuable IPs. Not to mention the fact that Viacom's pockets are nowhere near as deep as those of its competitors in Disney, Sony, or Comcast. After a few years of shitty performance, Paramount ousted its leader of 12 years, Brad Grey, who was responsible for returning Paramount, if only momentarily, to its former glory. They hired a former Fox executive, Jim Giannopoulos, last year to replace Grey. Brad Grey died of cancer only months after being fired. Cool move, Paramount. Grey's regime had greenlit some artistically ambitious projects like Mother and Annihilation. Giannopoulos promptly put an end to that and shoved Annihilation straight to Netflix while greenlighting projects like Bumblebee, the Transformers spin-off that stars a robot that doesn't talk. While companies like Disney take lesser-known IPs like the Guardians of the Galaxy and hires lesser-known directors like James Gunn with a vision to helm those projects, Paramount keeps giving Michael Bay stupid amounts of money to make more of those awful Transformers movies, even though their domestic box office returns have been in a steep decline for a while now. They're basically trying to bank on existing IPs that don't work anymore, with their top earner of 2017 being Transformers 5, which made about $100 million under its production budget domestically. But that's the key word here, domestically. While Transformers 5 made $130 million in the US box office, which is laughable, its global total gross was $605 million. Why? Because China, that's why. In fact, just last year, Shanghai Film Group and Huahua Media said that they would finance at least a quarter of all Paramount movies for the next 3 years. Now, while I'm not opposed to Chinese companies taking a bigger role in making movies for the global market as a principle, it does seem like they have a terrible taste in movies. So, what's in the horizon for Paramount? Well, their upcoming releases are mostly remakes, sequels, and adaptations that are most likely going to be terrible, like Top Gun, G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons, Sonic the Hedgehog, Beverly Hills Cop, more Transformers, and that fucking Romeo and Juliet sequel. At least they're still holding on to Mission Impossible and Star Trek, but who knows for how long. Oh, Paramount, the times we had. I guess we'll always have the memories. And Titanic. Was Titanic even good? Does anyone remember? Oh, here, there's nothing I fear. My heart will go